there either are a lot of aliens or none, and they're equally terrifying.
When Elon Musk stepped on stage, people thought it was going to be the usual SpaceX talk, rockets, Mars, futuristic dreams. But what he dropped next, nobody saw coming. He kicked things off chill, talking about their latest lunar flyby using the high-tech Starship craft. SpaceX had just pulled off a fully automated orbit around the moon, scooping up insane amounts of data. Crisp images, deep geophysical scans, and strange readings from the atmosphere seemed routine until Musk flipped the script. Then he hit the world with a bombshell. The moon, he said, is not what we thought it was. That one sentence turned the science world upside down, and the internet exploded with wild theories, jaw-dropped reactions, and major disbelief. For centuries, we've seen the moon as a quiet, pale shadow in our sky, a romantic backdrop, a scientific landmark, even a historic stepping stone. It's always been labeled a natural satellite, a big old space rock caught in Earth's gravity after some ancient cosmic crash. But Musk? He said that idea's outdated, and possibly way off. According to brand new data from the SpaceX lunar probe, something's seriously off. The surface materials, weird. The internal structure, even weirder. This isn't just about a few cracks or holes. There may be giant underground voids inside the moon. Some sections might even be hollow, y'all. And that's not all. The probe picked up thermal and electromagnetic signals that scientists can't explain. They don't match anything from known geology, and that's got experts freaking out. If the moon isn't what we always believed, what is it? Could something be hiding in there? Could its origins be something artificial? Whatever this is, it's way deeper than anyone expected. If this new info was legit, then everything we thought we knew about the moon, its origin, its link to Earth, even its role in shaping our planet, was suddenly up in the air. Musk hinted at something buried deep beneath the surface, something ancient, maybe even built. He didn't throw around wild words, but his tone? Chilling. He described strange symmetrical voids and regular bursts of electromagnetic energy, way too clean and consistent to be some random natural thing. This wasn't guesswork. These discoveries came straight from hardcore tech, next-level scanners, deep radar tools, and cutting-edge quantum resonance maps designed by AI teams who don't miss a thing. What they found was jaw-dropping. Huge empty chambers below the moon's surface, arranged in geometric patterns that felt designed. These weren't messy rock formations. The shapes had sharp angles, smooth curves, and a weird kind of symmetry that didn't feel like nature's doing, more like blueprints. Musk didn't say the A word, but come on, people were thinking it. Something about this felt intentional, like someone or something had been down there working a long time ago. And here's the real kicker. The most bizarre stuff? It was all hiding in spots that past missions avoided. Those shadowy corners no one ever touched. Areas the Apollo missions skipped and older probes kept glitching out in. Yeah, those places. Musk showed the receipts, side-by-side scans that revealed insane details, straight lines under the surface, massive empty domes, and super shiny materials placed at perfect intervals, not to mention heat spikes rising from beneath, showing up in steady bursts where things should have been cool and quiet. What was causing that heat? Something's definitely hiding under the moon's skin, and it's not just rock. These signals weren't just glitches. They pulsed in clean, steady waves, like something underneath the moon was still running. Maybe it's dormant, maybe barely alive, but it felt like a system down there, not some leftover rock echo. To explain it, Musk compared it to stuff we know, like geothermal vents or even nuclear reactor cores. But the problem? These signals didn't match anything from Earth. This wasn't natural heat from within. It looked more like some kind of thermal control or containment system. But for what? Nobody knows. That's when things got really wild. These discoveries put a whole new spin on decades of weird moon activity. Remember those mysterious moonquakes scientists kept talking about? The ones that had no meteor impact, no tectonic logic? Musk now thinks they could be tied to what's hiding under the surface, like massive chambers shifting, settling, or waking up. SpaceX's tools picked up eerie harmonic vibrations coming from deep inside the crust, frequencies way too organized to be natural rock behavior. It was almost like the moon was responding to the probe, or syncing up with something cosmic we don't even understand yet. And just when you think it couldn't get crazier, boom! Musk revealed another twist. The moon's magnetic field might not be as dead as we thought. For years, scientists believed it had no real magnetic pull. But the probe found intense, laser-focused magnetic zones, especially on the far side of the moon. These weren't scattered randomly either. They were laid out like someone designed them. Musk said the patterns looked exactly like energy grids or antenna arrays, clean lines, perfect spacing, symmetrical setups, stuff that just doesn't happen naturally on a chunk of old space rock. What's powering this? Who or what put it there? The deeper we dig, the weirder it gets. As Musk's bombshell spread, the internet exploded with theories. People were going wild, talking ancient alien tech, hidden lunar bases, rogue Earth civilizations lost in time. The imagination took off. Musk didn't confirm any of that, but let's be real. His data gave those theories more heat than ever before. He kept it grounded, sticking to the raw data. But the truth, if this info gets confirmed by outside sources, it could flip everything we know upside down. This isn't just about space anymore. It touches history, myth, science, and how we even fit into the universe. Then came an even crazier twist. As the SpaceX probe kept circling the moon, it picked up something deep, low-frequency pulses coming from one of those giant underground voids. They weren't random. They repeated every 143 minutes, then suddenly stopped for a full 24 hours, and started again. No natural process explains that. No magnetism, no crust shifts, nothing. This wasn't noise. It felt like a signal. Like something with rhythm, maybe even purpose. Nobody knows if it's the dying heartbeat of some ancient tech or an actual message being sent. And Musk? He didn't clear it up. He just let the mystery hang in the air like a challenge. Right after analyzing those strange signals, SpaceX launched a follow-up mission. Fast. A smaller, tougher lander headed toward the moon's south pole. That place is no joke. Eternal shadows, rough terrain, pure danger. But this lander came prepared with boron carbide drills and heat-resistant drones built to handle extreme conditions. Then just 90 meters down, bam! It hit something hard, not just rock, metal, a super dense metallic alloy that doesn't match anything on Earth. It stopped the drill cold. Whatever they hit, it wasn't natural, and it definitely wasn't supposed to be there. When the drill hit that strange metallic layer, it didn't just stop, it rang. Like literally rang out like a bell, echoing deep through the moon's crust. It gave off eerie harmonics, just like what Apollo missions once heard. But this time, the echoes weren't empty. They had structure. The vibrations carried patterns, like something trying to be read or even decoded. This wasn't just any metal, it was engineered. Spectrographic scans showed it was made from rare Earth elements and had a crystal structure similar to what's used in quantum computing. This kind of material doesn't form naturally, not in any corner of space we've explored. At this point, it wasn't just about secrets buried beneath the surface. The moon itself felt like it had been built to hide something deeper, coded right into its foundation. Of course, scientists are cautious. It'll take months, maybe years, to verify what this means. But behind the scenes, space agencies around the world were already in full scramble mode. Whispers were turning into late-night meetings. This wasn't just a big discovery, it was a paradigm shift. The moon had officially gone from being a pit stop to Mars to a full-blown cosmic mystery. Musk's reveal didn't just shake up science, it lit a fire under every nation with space dreams. Suddenly, it wasn't just about building bases or mining rocks. The moon could be holding lost tech, or something even crazier, a signal hub we might have accidentally turned on. Now China, India, the US, and a dozen others were in a quiet panic. Space wasn't just the new frontier, it became a chessboard, one where secrets, surveillance, and high-stakes moves were about to explode. Private space companies, their stock went through the roof. Public obsession with the moon hit new heights overnight. Everyone wanted answers, and fast. Suddenly, even classrooms couldn't ignore the hype. Schools started slipping advanced space topics into their lessons, and the internet, flooded with wild theories, 3D animations, and even amateur breakdowns of moon data. But behind all the buzz, something heavier was brewing, a question that hit deep. What if everything we thought we knew about the moon, the solar system, even where we came from, was wrong? The thought that the moon might have been built, or at least shaped by something way beyond human understanding, rocked science to its core. It threw a grenade into the idea that Earth was just another random planet floating in a boring corner of space. If the moon holds signs of ancient tech, or the fingerprints of a lost civilization, then Earth's whole story just got flipped upside down. That we're nothing special mindset? Yeah, that idea might be dead now. The ripple effects weren't just scientific. They hit straight into human culture. For thousands of years, people all over the world told stories about the moon. Legends of gods, madness, transformations, even wisdom from the sky. What if those myths weren't just poetic nonsense, but memories of something real, something passed down in fragments through ancient tales? And Musk? He didn't just drop data, he ended with a message, a challenge for all of us, not just scientists or billionaires. He called for unity, honesty, and most of all, humility. Because now the moon wasn't just a rock we visited. It wasn't just a launch pad to Mars. It had become the question, a glowing question in the sky about who we are, where we come from, and what might be out there, watching us, or long gone, but leaving behind a message carved into the bones of the moon. There were no easy answers, no final reveal, just the start of something massive, a chase into the unknown. This new age of space exploration wasn't about flags, money, or who gets there first. It was about curiosity, the kind that keeps you up at night, because now the moon wasn't what we thought it was, and maybe it never was. As Musk's lunar bombshell sent shockwaves through every corner of the world, a quiet panic started to build behind the scenes. Scientists, engineers, and data analysts began locking in. Every research lab, aerospace company, and university with a signal started digging through the encrypted files SpaceX had dropped online. And these weren't watered-down reports. They were the real stuff. Raw data, telemetry feeds, full radar scans, deep resonance maps. Musk didn't guard it. He unleashed it. No conspiracy, no holding back, just pure access for the world to see. And what they saw? It shattered everything we thought we knew about the moon. But the first people to freak out weren't your usual space experts. It wasn't just geologists or star watchers. It was systems theorists and AI researchers who caught something no one else did. They noticed that the layout of those giant underground voids? It didn't match anything found in nature. No randomness, no chaos. It didn't follow the messy patterns of tectonic shifts or ancient asteroid hits. Nope, it followed design principles, the same ones used in AI and complex systems. The structure looked like it had been mapped out, maybe even coded, like the moon's insides were designed with the logic of a neural network. Modular, layered, intentional. Not random rock, but something shaped by algorithms. That alone flipped the table on every textbook about lunar science. Then came the mathematicians, and they went deep into the numbers behind that strange 143-minute signal Musk had exposed. Turns out, this wasn't just a rhythm. It followed a prime-sequenced harmonic, way too precise to be random. When experts ran the data again, they uncovered something wild. Those pulses echoed Fibonacci ratios, binary steps, and patterns straight out of acoustical engineering. This wasn't just a signal anymore. It was a transmission, and it seemed built with structure, like it was meant to connect with something. Maybe a mind, maybe ours. Some even whispered it might be designed to interface with consciousness, human or other. Meanwhile, inside CERN's ultra-secure walls, a hushed emergency meeting was going down. Quantum physicists and particle analysts were poring over early findings from SpaceX's probe. Word was leaking. Something strange had been discovered in that metallic layer under the moon. A material with a stable structure made of quark-gluon plasma fragments. That's impossible under natural conditions, especially for something that's supposedly billions of years old. If real, this exotic matter could be a breakthrough humanity's only dreamed of. We're talking advanced propulsion, instant data relays, or even tech that stores information at the atomic level. This wasn't just science, it was tech from another tier. And while physicists were freaking out over the atomic possibilities, another group started paying attention. Historians, anthropologists, even mythologists. For thousands of years, ancient cultures from Mesoamerica to Mesopotamia didn't just see the moon as a light in the sky. They called it a presence, a force, sometimes even a being. The Dogon people of Mali told stories about a satellite brought into Earth's orbit. Similar stories popped up in ancient Sanskrit writings, even in cryptic Gnostic scrolls hidden for centuries. People always brushed those stories off as myths, but now, suddenly they felt chillingly real. These weren't just legends anymore, they sounded like ancient warnings, or lost knowledge we were never meant to forget. All eyes suddenly turned to the moon's South Pole Aitken Basin. This place had already caught scientists' attention before. It's one of the deepest and oldest craters in the solar system, but now it was under serious re-examination. Previous missions like NASA's Grail had picked up bizarre readings there, mass concentrations or mascons that didn't match up with what should have been under the surface. Now SpaceX's latest scans revealed something wild, stacked disc-shaped voids hiding beneath that exact same region. That's when a new theory started to spread. What if this crater wasn't just from an impact? What if it was something else entirely, like a failed entry point or a massive collapse from a structure underneath? Was this basin a door, a broken hatch, or even part of a planetary-scale construction? Government agencies weren't just curious anymore, they were scrambling to adjust their entire space playbook. The moon was no longer just a science project, it was turning into a strategic asset. Even the US Department of Defense, usually tight-lipped on anything space-related, started issuing classified alerts to top aerospace contractors. Why? Because if there's unknown tech buried in the moon, that changes everything. And this time, it wasn't about rival nations. It was about something possibly not from Earth. Defense analysts began running simulations. What if the moon contains dormant systems? Could they be activated? Was that strange resonance from SpaceX's data just a signal? Or a countdown? And even crazier, what if contact had already happened without us realizing it? Back inside SpaceX's labs, urgency was rising. Regular landers weren't enough anymore. Musk's team had kicked off high-speed development of deep-digging tech, subsurface penetrators, AI-guided drill units, and swarms of autonomous nanobots built to go where no human ever could. Whatever's under the moon's surface, they were preparing to meet it head-on. SpaceX wasn't playing around. They revealed a new class of tech, tiny, high-intelligence tools called eco-seeds. These little devices were getting packed into specialized micropods, ready to launch straight into the moon's underground voids. Their job, to map every inch with pinpoint accuracy like never before. But that wasn't even the boldest part. Their secondary mission, way riskier. These eco-seeds were built to grab samples of any strange materials or even signals they found down there and beam it all back using low-bandwidth, quantum-secure frequencies. Silent, locked-in communication. Nothing could intercept it. And just when people thought things couldn't get weirder, audio engineers dropped a shocker of their own. They had taken those low-frequency moon pulses and converted them into sound. Once slowed down and made audible, the signal didn't sound like static or noise. It sounded intentional. Some said it was musical, others swore it was mechanical. But what everyone noticed, the waveforms had structure, a shifting tone pattern that looked exactly like phonetic spectrograms, the kind used to visualize language. That's when it hit people. Was the moon not just hiding something physical, but trying to talk? Linguists were stunned, some skeptical at first, but even they couldn't ignore the data. Soon, AI teams started running the signals through deep learning models trained on ancient languages. Others cross-checked the patterns against phonemes from extinct dialects around the world. Early results didn't give clear answers, but what came out, chilling. Some tone sequences lined up with symbolic patterns from ancient Sumerian script. Others sounded like Morse code, but with unfamiliar timing beats. Was it real communication? Or just a crazy coincidence? Nobody could say for sure, but the fact that top academics, language experts, and AI researchers were treating it seriously, that told the world one thing: The rules had changed, and even with all these bombshells flying in from every angle, science, language, tech, history, you'd expect mass panic, right? But something else was rising instead. But instead of fear or panic, the public reaction was full-on wonder. Telescope sales shot through the roof. Science fiction books with moon-related plots flew back onto bestseller lists. People weren't just watching this unfold, they were obsessed. And it wasn't just the science crowd anymore. Philosophers jumped in, debating whether it was even ethical to explore something that might be more than just a hunk of space rock. And religion? It came roaring back into the conversation. Theologians, once sidelined from scientific debates, suddenly found themselves center stage, asking huge questions about creation, design, and consciousness in the universe. Even the Vatican pulled together a full panel to dig into what this could mean from a spiritual angle. And they weren't alone. Hindu thinkers, Islamic astronomers, and Kabbalistic scholars started flipping through ancient texts, searching for clues, wondering if their ancestors had sensed something and passed it down as myth. Now people were seeing the moon in a whole new way. Not just as a physical object in space, but as a symbol, a mirror, maybe even a messenger. But the conversation took an unexpected turn when one question started getting louder. Should we keep digging? That's where ethics stepped into the spotlight. If the moon wasn't natural, if it was placed there, or built by something or someone, did humans have the right to poke around, drill, or mine it for resources? That hit deep. And then came the legal chaos. According to international space laws, celestial bodies are supposed to belong to everyone, but what if the moon holds alien tech? Or ancient machines? Who owns it then? The country that finds it, the human race, or the beings that put it there in the first place? Suddenly, universities and labs around the world started building fusion teams, mixing coders with geologists, linguists with chemists, even pairing theologians with aerospace engineers. It wasn't just about science anymore. It was about unlocking the biggest mystery humanity had ever faced, together. This wasn't just a science story anymore. Everything was shifting. These research teams weren't tossing around theories in labs. They were prepping for the next phase. This was mission-critical work now. Humanity wasn't asking what if anymore. It was asking what's next. Even the art world caught fire. Musicians began composing eerie soundscapes inspired by the moon's pulse signals. Sculptors started recreating those mysterious underground shapes in massive installations. The moon had gone from background scenery to cultural phenomenon. It wasn't just reflecting light, it was reflecting us, our fears, our dreams, our past, and maybe even our future. Meanwhile, behind locked doors at SpaceX, something big was happening. A brand new fleet of landers was being built, sleek, armored, and equipped with some of the most advanced shielding ever designed. These weren't just exploration bots anymore. They were being prepped for contact, not necessarily with aliens, but with something else, something that could hold knowledge, warnings, or even designs. These landers were fitted with powerful AI systems, able to translate unknown frequencies, decode harmonic signals, and even adapt to unknown logic structures. They weren't just machines. They were envoys, built to communicate, analyze, and maybe even negotiate with whatever was waiting down there. But then came a new twist, one that chilled engineers to the bone. Buried deep in the data logs from the original orbiting probe was a timing glitch. The probe's atomic clock, verified and synced before launch with Earth's most precise systems, had recorded a tiny but undeniable time shift while flying over a specific part of the moon. It wasn't caused by gravity. It wasn't from speed. It didn't match any known kind of relativistic drift. This was something else, as if time itself was bending around certain lunar coordinates. Physicists were rattled. Time distortion like this isn't supposed to happen unless you're dealing with wormholes, higher dimensions, or some kind of tech designed to bend reality itself. If these time-bending anomalies could be repeated, then this wasn't just about secrets buried in rock. The moon itself was bending the rules of reality. In certain spots, it wasn't just holding something, it was protecting it, distorting space and time like a guard dog over something powerful. The implications were insane. Physics would need rewriting, technology could take a leap no one imagined, and human consciousness, That might be the next frontier this moon was pushing us toward. At this point, no one was laughing off sci-fi comparisons anymore. The moon had gone from a silent, glowing neighbor to something way more intense, maybe a gatekeeper or a library or some ancient machine designed to wait and watch. And whatever it was watching for, still a mystery. One thing was obvious. Musk hadn't just dropped a bombshell. He'd ripped a hole in history. This wasn't just a discovery. It was the end of one era and the start of another. For thousands of years, we looked up at the moon and dreamed. Now, it feels like the moon is looking back. That pale stone that moved tides, inspired poetry, and witnessed every chapter of Earth's story wasn't just background anymore. It had become a message, and that message, it's only just beginning to speak. As momentum exploded from SpaceX's findings, more eyes turned skyward. Independent observatories, fired up by Musk's open data drop, pointed everything they had toward the moon. Telescopes, sensors, radio dishes, all of it. And guess what? New anomalies started popping up everywhere, stuff that had been missed for decades just because no one had thought to look at the moon this way before. Now it was revealing subtleties, little secrets it had kept hidden in plain sight. One of the biggest breakthroughs came from a joint team of astrophysicists in South Korea and Germany. They'd been tracking how the moon influences Earth's magnetosphere, and what they found next wasn't just strange, it was impossible. For a long time, the moon's influence on Earth was thought to be pretty basic, moving the tides, nudging the weather a bit, nothing more. But that view just got blown wide open. When scientists ran the latest data through ultra-sensitive modeling systems, what they found changed everything. During certain moon phases, especially the waxing crescent and waning gibbous, there were sudden, clear fluctuations in Earth's magnetosphere. And here's the kicker, they happened specifically along the sublunar point, the spot on Earth directly under the moon at any given time. But this wasn't just gravity doing its thing. These fluctuations acted more like energy emissions, faint, but precise, like someone or something was flipping a low-frequency switch. That raised the big question. Was the moon doing more than just reflecting sunlight? Could it be emitting something, some kind of hidden radiation or energy field we never had the tools to detect until now? If that's true, the moon isn't just a bystander. It might be a modulator, or worse, a broadcaster. And if it's sending something out, then who's on the other end? Or more chilling, what? That's when all eyes turn to the moon's far side, the one we never see from Earth thanks to tidal locking. Past missions barely scraped the surface out there, but new synthetic aperture radar scans, they uncovered something stunning. Crater patterns on the far side weren't random. They followed geometric alignments. Some craters were laid out with the precision of microchip circuitry or ancient temples. The spacing, the ratios, too perfect to be natural. Some of these formations stretched for hundreds of kilometers. Massive spirals, perfect lines, even nested hexagons, designs that instantly caught the attention of material scientists and mathematicians alike. This wasn't just some freak pattern. It looked like the moon was hiding architecture, on a scale either impossibly old or wildly advanced. Hexagons are no joke. They're one of nature's smartest designs, super strong, space efficient, and used everywhere from beehives to advanced tech. So seeing massive hexagonal structures across the moon's surface, that wasn't random, that was deliberate. These patterns might have been altered after impact, or maybe they were never craters at all. Could they be foundations, beacons, something meant to be seen from orbit? Then came the next jaw-dropper, high-frequency flashes near the moon's equatorial ridge. But get this, they weren't visual. These were gamma and soft X-ray bursts, the kind you usually see from black holes or colliding particles deep in space. From the moon, that's unheard of. And here's the weirdest part. The flashes came in triplets, 3 quick bursts, then a pause, then the pattern repeated, over and over. Telescopes all over the world picked up the same thing. It was steady, predictable, and way outside anything we've ever seen from lunar material. It didn't take long before the big agencies jumped in. Listening arrays from the European Space Agency and Japan's JSA locked in on the signal's source. After triangulation, the emissions traced back to a spot thought to be totally dead. No known activity, no previous interest. Now, it was priority number one. SpaceX moved fast. With new unmanned missions already in motion, Musk's team rerouted their next probe to fly directly over that hotspot. Inside the company, the mission had a new name, Surveyor Node Alpha. The objective? Get answers. The probe would carry deep drill autonomous units built to break into the surface, snatch samples, and record internal vibrations, live, back to Earth. But while physicists were focused on the emissions, something unexpected was happening in another field. Biologists and cognitive neuroscientists had started picking up on a disturbing new thread, something that didn't start in space, but in the human mind. Dreams. The moon's always had a grip on our sleep, our minds, our madness. For centuries, people have whispered about lunar phases causing strange dreams, wild creativity, or even breakdowns. It was always chalked up as myth, until now. Because quietly, behind the scenes, researchers had been tracking something strange: global sleep data, collected from wearable tech, hospital monitors, and sleep labs around the world. And after the moon's recent anomalies hit the headlines, they looked again, and everything changed. What they found? A sudden spike in synchronized sleep disturbances, all lining up exactly with the same time frames as those moon signal bursts. 3 separate periods, 3 bursts of gamma radiation. And during each one, millions of people across the globe reported the same thing: intensely vivid, coherent dreams. These weren't just weird dreams. They had structure, detailed visions of impossible architecture, spiraling geometry, and repeating themes of ascension or entrapment, from Tokyo to Lagos to New York. Different cultures, different languages, same images. That set off alarms in the neuroscience community. Could the moon actually be influencing the human mind through some unknown frequency? A quantum link we never noticed before, because it was always just below our senses. Was this ancient entanglement between us and the moon not just poetic, but real? The idea was electrifying and terrifying. Consciousness researchers teamed up with quantum physicists to run new models. They started asking questions no one had dared to put on paper before. Could our biology have some hidden tether to the moon's internal structure? Could signals bouncing through space be stirring the subconscious of billions? What if this connection wasn't new, but ancient? And the reason we dream of the moon is because the moon has been whispering to us this entire time. All eyes turned to the one thing humanity had already brought back from the moon: regolith, lunar soil samples from the Apollo missions, locked away for decades in labs across the world. Scientists had studied them for basic chemistry and geology, but never like this. Now, with the moon's secrets unraveling, those dusty grains were under the microscope again, and what researchers found was unreal. At MIT, a team ran controlled experiments using low-frequency electromagnetic fields on the old samples. The result? Microbursts of energy, weak and short-lived, but unlike anything Earth materials had ever produced. These bursts had a unique waveform, like they were responding to the signal, almost like memory being jolted awake. That's when a jaw-dropping theory took hold. What if the moon isn't just made of rock, but made to remember? A massive, ancient storage device, layered like a hard drive, with parts of it alive only under certain conditions. AI-assisted pattern recognition software went deeper, scanning the microscopic patterns in the regolith. What it found? Fractals within fractals, patterns repeating across scales in perfect logarithmic spirals, not natural erosion, not compression. This looked like data encoded recursively, like someone or something wanted that information protected until the time was right. It couldn't be translated, not yet. But the fact that these sequences were consistent across multiple samples sent one message loud and clear: something's in there, waiting. So now the big question is, what are we waking up? If this blew your mind, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We've got more revelations coming your way. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Elon is right about the moon not being what we thought? We want to hear it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.